So I've seen some year-end videos of thoughts on the MRM. And, you know, a lot of my subscribers are MRAs or NGTOWs, and I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm going to be honest about what I really think about this. How do I put this? Well, I'm not a member of any cause. I just don't have it in me. I think it's kind of like tilting at windmills. I'm a deeply cynical person. But I think the reason there's so many MRAs subscribe to me is because I will support the underdog if they have something valid to say and nobody is inclined to listen. Right? Like, Western society seems like, if nothing else, one giant enterprise designed to kiss women's asses. Okay? And then women go around like complaining about how tough they have it. I mean, it's the irony just burns. And you know, or here's another thing, like with the free thought blogs people, remember Schrodinger's rapist? Like, this kind of shit, if I saw a woman being attacked, I would rush in to save her. Most men, the vast majority of men are like this, okay? And it's not like we expect any kind of appreciation for this, but, you know, what? If you're like, I have every reason to suspect that you are a rapist and treat you as such, I mean, come on, it's a little insulting. I don't expect any accolades for being a big fucking hero here, but how about you shut the fuck up with that shit, huh? And all, you know, feminist things in general, like, nobody gives a shit about men. And honestly, you know, I'm old and from a generation, I barely give a shit about myself. You know, and MRAs, sometimes they'll talk about circumcision, and I personally don't care. I'm circumcised, but I just don't care. I've never known my penis to be any other way, and I'm big about taking what you have and doing the best with it. So I don't think of it personally as an emotional issue, but on the other hand, you shouldn't cut off pieces of a person's body that aren't going to grow back unless you have a goddamn good reason. You know, they used to remove people's tonsils when they got infected too much, but now modern medicine, the general idea is you don't remove those tonsils. They're necessary. Just don't cut shit off of your body unless it's, you know, gangrenous and infected. That's just come on. Anyway, and I hear things like, oh, the MRAs, they're hateful, they hate women, blah, 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 blah. Now, I've seen a lot of YouTube pages by MRAs and GTOWs, and, you know, there are commenters who sometimes do seem to hate women, or they might be trolls or whatever, but for the most part, any large MRA YouTube page isn't hateful toward women so much as, hey, let's shine some light of reality onto this shit, right? And the men who do hate women, I mean, you know, when you live in a civilization that's like, you know what, fuck you, fuck your needs, we gotta worry about the women, I know they actually have it pretty good, and they don't die nearly as much, or, but you know what, fuck you, we gotta focus on them. Or going through a divorce, losing a child in a custody battle, that kind of shit, it can make a guy bitter. I mean, I don't have those kinds of emotional drives myself, but I can understand how a person who totally isn't listened to could become bitter and just want to express some feeling somewhere. So I would expect at least a few hateful comments directed towards women. Now, I mean, I would say you got to get over that, because it's not healthy, it's not helpful. You know, hate is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. You just, hate not worth the time. Just, you gotta take it all in stride, my humble opinion. And then there's also guys that, I mean, this sounds like I'm trying to do some shaming language, but let's face it, some guys, they're just not very successful with women, and it eats them up inside, and it makes them join MRAs, even though they don't really care about men's rights per se. They just feel like they've been shafted by life. You know, if they were, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not a sucker. I'm not going to get married because, I mean, that's just some stupid shit to do if you're a man. You would have to be insane to do something with such a dismal cost-benefit analysis. But at the same time, I don't hate women. I don't think of them as evil. I just have a realistic perspective on how they are. But I have a realistic perspective on how most people are. And, you know, no type of person is all flowers and sunshine and rainbows and shit. You just got to realize the nature of the creature you're dealing with. Men and women are different, but one isn't better than the other. And that's another reason why the whole feminism thing bothers me. You know, anytime you watch TV, it's always showing how women are superior in every way. And like on all these shows like Tyra Banks or Oprah or whatever, there's always one saying, yeah, women are smarter than men. Women are more emotionally mature than men. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, everybody claps. Like, well, that's nice patting yourself on the back there, but it's probably, come on, man, get real. Just get real. People who are really smart generally don't just have to go around congratulating themselves on their smartness at every opportunity. And here's the part where I offer some advice to MRAs, to members of the MRM, about how to conduct business. Now, I know I'm not part of the movement. Consider me an outside contractor advising. One, don't go talking about women's promiscuous habits like they're sluts, like, oh, women think they can just have sex with blah, blah, blah. Listen, that doesn't help anybody. There's nothing wrong with sex. Okay, I mean, there's a reason not to be promiscuous, namely you don't want a whole bunch of fucking diseases. Other than that, there's really nothing wrong with it. And also the unintended pregnancies. Oh yeah, and this, god damn it, I should have mentioned this in the other section, because this isn't advice, but this whole, like, reproductive rights, that kind of thing, seems like a really good issue, and nobody cares. Like, absolutely nobody cares that, like, you know, a man, once he has an orgasm, boom, committed 18 years. Okay? Now, the advice to MRAs is don't make it out like abortion is this bad thing and immoral and killing people, because that's just some stupid shit. I mean, I'm sorry, but it is. They're not people. But I think it is an issue worth dealing with, that a man is financially obligated because of the incentive system that it creates. Namely, a woman can reproduce and get somebody to foot the bill, and then a man who probably wants to raise his children doesn't get to, but he has to foot the bill. This whole, I don't know, legal paternal separation thing, like, hey, listen, you're pregnant, I can't force you to have an abortion, but I would like to walk away right now, and you can either have the child or not, you know, depending on your financial and emotional disposition, right? And, of course, I mean, maybe the guy has to pay, so, you know, go halvesies on that abortion. But I think if this was an option, there would be a lot fewer, oops, I'm accidentally pregnant. I really do. I mean, I don't want to sound cynical, but I'm actually quite sure that if legal paternal separation was a real option that men could avail themselves of, there would be far fewer unwanted children. I mean, that's just just how human motivation works. And, okay, one last thing. I saw a video on, maybe a couple videos about, are women MRAs just pretending to be MRAs? They're really just trying to control weak-minded men, yada, yada, yada. Well, here's my thoughts on this. It's not as if women are going to seize control of the male rights movement and then, like, dissipate it. That's one thing that isn't going to happen. It's just not. because men will just be like, gee, look, a woman trying to dissipate the men's rights movements. Let's go ahead and drum her out. Girl rights what? She is a huge boon to the men's rights movement because people don't listen to men when they discuss men's issues. So regardless of her motivation, she is an enormous asset and should be treated as such. Now, that doesn't mean she should be given carte blanche to do whatever the hell she wants. But, like, if women are on board, let them come on board. I mean, maybe not your Christy O'Misty types, okay, but just, like, don't get this paranoid fear that all women are evil, okay? It's just, that's crazy. I mean, yes, you have to have a certain level of cynicism toward anyone's motivations, but wait until their actions somehow reflect that. Wait until they start doing things that would indicate malice. If they are being helpful, then they are being helpful, regardless of their motivations. And, well, I mean, whatever's going on inside a person's head, what really matters is the effect that they have. And women are listened to. So if they're willing to speak about men's rights, they're pretty fucking rare, because most women are like, yeah, as a strong woman. Men are useless. Yeah, they just so stupid. They don't appreciate what a strong woman I am. Okay, that's like there are a lot of women like that. There are not necessarily a lot of women saying, hey, you know what? Men are pretty cool. Nobody gives a shit about them. So if there are women like that, how about you just don't cut them like all the slack in the world, but try not to be too fucking paranoid just because they're women. Okay? Anyway, that's my thoughts on all of that. Have a happy new year.